an advanced class in history with a decade-old deer, and a summer's hard work to set the stage to make sure everything is perfect. Because when Steve sets his sight, a deer is usually in trouble. But time and time again, this would prove to be not just any deer.
And then there was one day. The last day.
Yep.
We all search for it. Some of us work our entire lives to get there, hoping to get that one chance at the deer of a lifetime. And no matter how hard we work, many never will. But we learn along the way that all that work is what we love, what drives the pursuit. We pass on what we know to our children, give birth to their own search, and hope with all that preparation and dedication, and sometimes some luck that someday we'll be handed the keys that open a door to a land where legends live.
Right when I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, I want him.
It's a heavy, crazy cold deer.
Extra stickers.
Probably the biggest deer I've ever killed.
That's pretty neat with those flyers on the front. Just an absolute fantastic deer. He's a gorgeous deer. There's no way a guy could ask for any more.
Stealth Cam presents Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail. Brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Monster Meal, attract, nourish, retain. Excalibur Crossbow, different for a reason. Heater Bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear. New archery products, hunt with confidence. Bog, engineered for the unknown. Hoyman, your land, your legacy. Muddy, serious gear for serious hunters. Glendale 3D Targets, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the world. Nocturnal lighted nocks, switch on accuracy, and let it glow. Boyd's hardwood gun stocks, better with Boyd's. Raculator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. Old timer knives, built for generations. And by Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance.
Steve's 2018 season last year was a lot like mine, a lot of sitting, a lot of watching, a lot of enjoying the deer woods, but not seeing any mature bucks or notching a tag. In 2018, this was one of the best deer that Steve saw, and on the last day of the season.
It was cool seeing him anyway. Very nice up and coming young deer. We'll pack up, get out of here, and we'll call her a day.
Now, a year later in 2019, Steve had a target, not just any deer. It was a legendary old buck, a 10-plus-year-old deer that we nicknamed Flaxy and had been watching for years. A decade of history and a decade of ups and downs, we'd watched the deer grow over the years, until in 2016 he produced his best rack ever. Heavy beams and long tines, and after a season of hunting the deer, this was the only encounter. That spring, after finding one of his colossal sheds, we were surprised that in 2017 that he produced his smallest rack in years, and he was given a pass. As 2018 arrived, Flaxy's growth was back, though not as big as in 2016. He was still very nice, and were able to film the buck on several occasions with no luck taking him. A gorgeous old warrior of the woods we were excited to see if he'd survived to 2019. As summer came, so did Flaxy, and again big heavy beams, still not as large as 2016, but one beautiful deer nonetheless. This year, with the deer looking great again, Steve decided it would be his target, and this season we had a new little project that we thought might help. We ended up disking this field 3 or 4 times, but it turned out just perfect. The dirt's really nice. It's nice and black now. All that organic matter's worked underneath. It's going to help. So Steve and I came in today, and we're going to waste no time. It's July 30th. We're going to get that winter wheat seeded. We're going to broadcast it, and the same with the fertilizer. We're going to be putting on about 150 pounds per acre of fertilizer. And everything we read kind of called for a little bit more, but 150 pounds per acre was what was in our budget. So we'll get it all seeded, and hopefully we got a nice winter wheat plot this fall. We got the plot seeded, fertilized, we got it harrowed, so we had a little bit extra time, and Steve and I thought, with all the commotion that we've made here, we might as well not stop now. So we had a plan on what we're gonna do with the blind and where we're gonna set up. We had a blind with us, so we're gonna pop it in here, cut some brush down, brush it in a little bit, and then when we leave, we can really let things quiet down and come back, and hopefully that buck's moving through here. With the season fast approaching, we were back to check up on the winter wheat and get some more monster meal out, anxious to check the stealth cam to see how the old boy was doing. With the season opener now here and Flaxy a regular on the trail camera, Steve just had a few more practice shots to take before heading into the blind.
It's pretty neat because we put all the work into this plot this year. And then there was only one deer we wanted to have a look at. We checked the stealth cam, we checked the card, and he's been loving it.
After a few uneventful days, today, Steve had a new visitor.
Come over here, you little shit. I'll give you something to yipe about.
Despite the yippee coyote, the deer began to filter out, including this unique young buck. And just as Steve was packing up, the big fella made an appearance, though much too late.
He is a smart deer. He came a little bit late tonight. We'll give her again tomorrow. See what happens.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Muddy Outdoors.
One of the biggest topics in the whitetail woods always seems to be scent control, and a lot of people are surprised to find out that we're not that concerned about scent control other than on stand. We don't tend to pre-wash our hunting clothes and store them in rubber totes. Rather, we use our clothing like you would any other clothing. We just keep it clean, keep it dry, and be smart about what you're doing. So we're just going to try to keep foreign smells off of those hunting clothes wherever possible. For example, if we're going to stop and get fuel on the way to go hunting, I'm not going to wear my hunting coat or my pants, just I don't want to risk getting diesel fuel on them, which is going to cause a big problem when we walk in and out of our stand. At the end of our hunt, we'll store our clothes in a dry wash bag and run the Ozonics unit to clean any foreign smells out of that clothing, and then we're good for the next hunt. And while we're on stand, I'm not too worried about scent because we use an Ozonics unit every time. We found that that's the best defense against any scent issues. You know, the clothings and the soaps that you can use, they'll all help maybe to some degree, but there's contaminants the second you step out of your truck, the second you put them on, and then you've got your human smell that's coming off of you consistently. Another precaution we often take that we recommend is when you get out of your truck to spray your legs and your boots down with a scent killing spray. And we do that because we don't want to trail from our vehicle into that stand. So if a deer crosses that trail at any point, they don't alarm to us. When we're on stand, we're running our Ozonics, we've got no issues there. But we still have our trail from a vehicle to our stand. I don't want to drag any scent that's on my boots or on my pant legs through the brush there and have a deer that might slip in there, detect it, and bust our night. Making sure you don't create a scent trail to and from your stand, and also making sure that you don't have a scent stream coming from your stand while you're there can make a big difference on the outcome of your hunt.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Muddy Outdoors. Share your own muddy moment. Canadian Whitetail is also brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Furnaces, the ultimate wood heat. Black Eagle Arrows, advanced carbon technology. Tinks, makers of the finest deer lures and scents. Tacticam, share your hunt. Wild Edge, makers of the stepladder. Cyclops, get out of the dark. Styrka Optics, we see things differently. Elite Archery, the world's most shootable bow. And by Scott Archery.
I'm back in here trying to get another chance at Mr. Sneaky. He pulled a quick one on me here a few nights ago. Well, here comes another deer.
His last encounter with Flaxy being much too late, today. Well, today was about to be very different. The first deer on the scene is the ancient old buck, and he's coming on a string. As the buck walks into range, he glances over at the blind almost to acknowledge Steve, then turns to walk straight away, offering no shot. Almost purposely. And spends the remainder of the evening out of range, feeding in the winter wheat.
Oh, I can't believe that happened. That there was the target deer. So as far as I know, I could be wrong, I'd have to talk to Dean about this. But in the 10 or 12 years that deer's been around, I do believe he's only been filmed twice, maybe 3 times. That just goes to show you how cagey and smart he is.
With the early season now a wrap, it's not until November 15th and the opener of the late season before Steve's able to go back after Flaxy.
Back after Mr. Sneaky. He's been showing it on and off the camera over the last couple weeks, so the rutting activity is in full swing. So
with several young bucks filing out again at last light, much too late, Flaxy steps out into the field looking for does. Though no shot, it's still good to see him alive, and with more information from the stealth cam, Steve decides to make a move.
After my sit on day 1, I came here and checked the camera, and there'd be a lot of deer coming through here, including on the odd occasion Mr. Sneaky. So I popped into here, and when I came in earlier this afternoon, I checked the card, and he's been back and forth.
Though hoping for an encounter with Flaxy, the buck that Steve was about to see was not him, but a much, much bigger deer that we call Lucky. Extra wide, heavy beams and triple brows, Lucky was a deer hunter's dream in the flesh, and only 20 yards away. Because of his age, we decided not to target Lucky in the summer, but now in person and bigger than expected, Steve had a decision.
Oh, wow, he is a nice deer. Oh, we know for a fact he's 5.5. And he jumped significantly from last year to this year. That was a really tough decision, but I think letting him go might pay off next year.
This segment brought to you by AAE. Innovation and integrity is in our blood. Quality and dependability is in our products.
Multiple encounters with no shot, Steve is still in the blind, and we were about to witness an odd series of events.
But that doe is getting all the attention. She's been running so hard, her mouth was just hanging wide open and she was panting. But I don't see the buck coming.
While watching behind the exhausted doe, we see it's not a buck hot on her heels. Or was it? It seems several parties were partaking in the chase. With the evening fading, we heard a soft grunt, looked up, and seen that in the dying days of the season, Steve still had a chance. Again, coming on a string, Flaxy was closing the distance, and fast. And at the exact moment we expected him to turn towards us for a shot, he turns on a dime, straight away, almost as if taunting Steve. It was almost as if we could hear the old boy chuckle as he walked away. That encounter put Steve into the final 10 days of the season with all-day sits in one or the other of the two blinds.
All right.
And what sits they were, seeing buck after buck watching and enjoying these gorgeous animals. Small bucks, young bucks, and even some legends years out of their prime, these are the times in a deer blind when things are learnt and an appreciation for these deer is born.
And then there was one day. The last day.
Yep.
But Steve, he likes to play that game that way.
Never say never.
It's no fun to shoot a deer the first 96 days.
No, why would you want to do that?
And still, with a big smile on his face, Steve's last sit of the year is the most uneventful.
Well, that's a wrap for 2019.
I was just thinking that buck walked out, kind of took the last of the season with him, hey?
Yep, did too.
It's unfortunate on the last day because there's been deer moving through here all week. And then today it was just dead. And even those deer came from not out of the main bush, so.
Yeah, it was pretty evident.
Something was going on in here today.
Something happened around here today, so.
But what do you do?
Yeah, you gotta play the game, right?
Start looking for next year. It's the last day of this season, first day of the new season.
Absolutely.
It's kind of odd to say, and I know Steve agrees with me, that yet another close call with Flaxy ending without success is maybe success in itself. This way we get to continue to watch and appreciate the old boy and wonder if next year is the year. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Canadian Whitetail.
This segment has been brought to you by Wild Edge and the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree, anywhere, with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. To book your own dream hunt in northern Saskatchewan, please contact us at Canadian Whitetail Outfitters. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors. For exclusive content, follow Dean and the team on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at WhitetailDean. To view all past and present episodes of Canadian Whitetail, as well as new original content, visit us on our YouTube and Carbon TV channels. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, visit CanadianWhitetailTV.com.
Audio